Hello, my name is Antonia Vance, and I'm going to talk to you about Denmark's influence on Texan culture. Literature during the 1800 to 1850s was mostly in the genre of romantics. It was started by Denmark's first romantic writer, Adam Oehlenschläger. And then came the more famous Hans Christian Andersen. He is most known for his famous fairy tales, such as The Emperor's New Clothes, The Ugly Duckling, and The Little Match Girl. Around 1870, a new Danish literature came to be. It was a more realistic literature that could create some debate in society. It was written by George Brandes, and he wrote mostly about religion, anti-militarism, and breaking the social norm. Karen Blixen was one of the most popular writers in the 20th century from Denmark. She wrote more of a fairy tale type of literature that was very much like she was just telling a story. Detective novels have been very popular in the Danish literature as well, and continue to be a popular type of literature there presently. Danish art goes all the way back to artifacts that have been found from the 2nd millennium BC. Many of the beautiful paintings from the Danish were medieval paintings that happened in the 16th century. They were on church walls. These murals can still be found in somewhere around 600 churches in Denmark. They have been restored after being covered in lime wash during the Reformation. Many Danish artists were left with nothing to do after the Reform, and most of the art was imported from other areas. In the 18th century, Danish artists were trained in contemporary styles. From the late 18th century on, Danish art has been flourishing. Culture and the arts thrive in Denmark because of government funding that they receive. Because of that government funding, artists are able to devote themselves more to their art. Most of the Danish Texans immigrated to Texas between 1860 and 1930. A young painter named Charles Zanko came in 1835. He helped design the company's flag with a painted star and the word Independence written below it. It is believed that he may have been the first person to paint a lone star on a Texas flag. He died in the Battle of the Alamo. A group of 20 Danish families settled in a little area that became known as Danevang. In that area, they grew crops that they were accustomed to growing back in Denmark. They ended up not working in Texas. So instead, they grew cotton and they raised cattle and pigs. They were a very close-knit community. They would celebrate birthdays and anniversaries, and they would also help make each other's homes and have housewarming parties. We have many contributions from the Danish immigrants. I'm going to go over some of them with you now. The Danish are said to have contributed to starting the habit of coffee breaks for us. It was very common for them to drink coffee together and have Danish cookies, especially at Christmas time. It is also possible that Danish kringle was the inspiration for Pop-Tarts. John Gutzen Delamoth Borglum was a Danish immigrant that studied art and loved to make sculptures. He loved giant sculptures. He was the one that came up with the idea of Mount Rushmore in South Dakota. He died before it was complete, and his son ended up finishing it for him. He also sculpted the Texas Cattle Trail Drivers that's in Brackenridge Park in San Antonio.